Okay, this video is on simplifying radicals, and what I recommend you doing is first making a list of perfect squares. So I have a list of perfect squares all the way up to 20 squared, but even if you make a short list, even up to 12, 12 squared is 144, and maybe even a list of perfect cubes, and then I'll go ahead and start explaining. So square roots undoes something squared, much like addition is the inverse operation to subtraction, and multiplication and division undo each other. They're inverse operations. Well, taking the square root of something squared does the same thing. Just like the cube root undoes something cubed, the fourth root undoes something to the fourth. You get the same power. This number, called the index, when the indices are the same, then the operations undo each other. So let's give you an example. So 4 is equal to 2 squared. Remember, 2 squared is just another way to say 2 times 2. Well, if you take the square root of 4, that's equal to 2. And actually, it could be positive or negative, but we're going to stick with the positive version. Well, if you take the square root of 2 squared, the square root and the square undo each other, and that leaves a 2. So the tip is, when you're simplifying radicals, have a list of perfect squares handy. So we're going to take 96, and what you want to do is in 96, you want to maybe find a perfect square. Well, let's see if 4 goes into 96. 96 divide 4 is 24. Well, wait. 4 goes into 24. 4 goes into 24 6 times. And look at what you have now. 6 does not simplify further, but 4 is a perfect square. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of this 4 is 2. And when the roots pull out, then that becomes multiplication. So now the square root of 96 is equivalent to 2 times 2 is 4. And then what's left in the radical? 4 times square root of 6. All right? Well, we have 125. Well, a perfect square that ends in 5 is 25. So take 125, divide 5 if you don't know what that result is. There you go. And now the square root of 25 is 5. So what you have left is the square root of 125 is equal to 5 root 5. 512, that's a big enough number. So I'm going to come up here to my list. I'm going to go ahead and try 64. So let's do 512 divide 64. And that leaves, so we probably could have gone higher. That leaves, let's see, we put 64 in here. That leaves 8. Well, 8 can be rewritten as 4 times 2. And now look at what you have. You have the square root of 64, and 8 comes out. The square root of 4, a 2 comes out, and look at what's left. You have a 2 that's left. So let me rewrite this. 200, the square root of 512 is equivalent to 8 times 2 is 16, and what's left under the radical is a 2. All right. And same thing that's going to work for cubes. Cube root undoes something cubed. So if we took cube root of 27, well, 27 is the same as 3 cubed. And now the cube root and the cube undo each other, and that answer is 3. So 125 That's the same as the cube root of 5 cubed. Well, the cube root and the cube undo each other, leaving 5 as the result. Okay, for this first video of simplifying radicals, here you have it, and then we'll practice more in the next video.